So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, and welcome to this Canon PowerShot, as you can see right there, SX530 HS video tutorial. Now, the last time I did a video on this was way back when, in like March and February. I did a camera test as well as a review on this camera, and I'm piggybacking on those videos. I'll leave them down below in the description area if you haven't checked them out. They're pretty awesome. You might want to check them out, as well as up here in a card. But in this video, for a lot of you, a lot of people engaged with this video and a lot of people were very interested in this camera. And I've had it for about 6 months now, and I kind of want to give you my experience with it, or basically give you like a real world tutorial. I'm not going to be giving you all this scientific, actual everything to the fact. If you want to overwhelm and fry your brain, go ahead and go on a camera tech expert website where you can learn every little number and everything until your brain just falls apart. But in this video, I'm just going to try to tell you in a more simple to use fashion how it is to use this camera, what you can do with it, and basically, you know, all these little features. So if you want to see all of that, stay tuned. Let's go. All right, guys, so when you get the Canon SX530 HS out of the box, the straps will not be on this camera. So you are going to have to go ahead and kind of tie them inside of both of these sides here. So that's one thing I want to mention right away. The straps you got to tie yourself. It's a little bit annoying, but you can easily put them on there. As well as this lens cover is attached to the strap. So if you want to use that lens cover, which I'm pretty sure you do, so you don't get like little scratches inside the lens here, you might want to use that. So yeah, that lens cover comes off easily by just squeezing these two guys together. I usually just pull it off from the sides, but you're actually, it's designed so you can just kind of squeeze like that and put it on easily. And then you could kind of turn it whatever way you want the Canon logo to be showing. Not a big deal, just an aesthetic thing, but for those of you who care about aesthetics and things like that, how your camera looks, then you might want to do that. So I'm gonna leave that off because we're gonna talk about it more here. So this camera does have a manual flash, so if you decide to pick this up, you are going to have manual flash. So in order to access the flash, you do have to pull up the flash like so. So like that with your hand. There is no trigger mechanism like seen on my previous WB350 camera that I did on the channel. Now over here at the top of this camera, this is going to be your zoom function right here. So if you pull it to the right, it's going to zoom the lens out, so towards your subject. If you pull it to the left, it's going to zoom out here. Now over here is basically a toggle switch that's going to control things like your shutter speed as well as exposure ratings and other functions throughout the camera. Right here is the grip. So this is where you're going to grip your hand, and it's really grippy, by the way. And over here is going to be some auto focusing tracking right here. So this one is basically, you'll see throughout the camera, we're going to be able to, you know, focus things. And right here, this button right here is one that you hold down. You got to continuously hold this button right here. Now that's just a little logo that says NFC though, for like tapping to sharing and things like that. And there is no horseshoe mechanism as mentioned in my review. So you're not going to be able to attach anything here. On the left of the camera, if we go inside of here, you're going to see that there is no slot right here for, you know, like putting your microphone. So people were asking, can I put a microphone in there? No, you cannot put a microphone in here. That's one feature that kind of sucked about this camera. You do have to do your audio separate and edit in post-production. So over here is a mini HDMI cable, and over here is, I don't even know the name of that port to be honest at this moment, but it does come with a little cord that goes in there and plugs into your TV and computer, and basically it's a proprietary cord for this Canon. It's not, you know, micro USB or nothing like that. So at the bottom of this camera, we do have, this is where you're going to go ahead and just put your, you know, screw it onto your tripod and put the battery in. So you want to go like this to open this battery door. You slide to the right, flick up, and right here is where you're going to put your SD card. You're going to want to get an SDXC card, and you can also get a micro SD card. People were asking, what kind of SD card can I put in there? I recommend you get the camera one, this size SD card. It's faster and it works better. But over here, SanDisk Ultra Plus, this is the micro SD HC, I believe it is. It's SD card, the mini SD. So you can go ahead, I was getting out of focus, getting a little distracted there, but you can see right here, you can put this in here, in the Samsung adapter or whatever adapter comes with the SD cards. They come with all the mini SDs, and you can just put it in there and it'll work as well. So that works as well. You don't need, so if you already have one of these laying around at the house, it should work just fine in this camera. But I go with these because they're faster transfer speeds and it takes photos faster. Then the battery right here, this battery doesn't last very long, so you're going to probably want to get another battery. That's the battery right there, MB6LH, if you were wondering. It's a 1060 milliamp hour battery. It lasts decently long, but it's not going to last, you know, super long. So you might want to get a spare battery if you're constantly taking photos. It'll get you through a day if you're not heavy. You're not taking photos every second of the day, but, you know, it's not the greatest. So let's turn this camera on. You do have the power button right here. That's going to turn it on. Now let's get into more of the tutorial section, or well, we're already covering pretty much everything on the camera, but I want to get more into these features now. So over here is going to be your dial ring, where you do have each function, you know, to go to. And this is like where you start to learn how to use basically DSLR functions. It's not a DSLR camera, but you know, you do get kind of in there and, you know, kind of get to work with that kind of stuff. So on auto mode, you basically, that's the pictures. On auto mode, you basically just tap to shoot. I mean, half press, you know, to focus. So let me put this little SD card slot there, for example. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. Half press to focus on auto and just fire, and bam, that's your shot right there. You can see, you can zoom in and there's your shot on the, you know, auto mode. So auto mode, you really can't do much. You know, it's kind of auto for a reason. They want you to just have a easy to use shot. It's for the rookies out there who don't really want to mess with all that stuff. And if you go over here to functions, you can basically, on auto mode, you could set a self timer up to 10 seconds, 2 seconds, and then continuous 3 shots after 10 seconds. So that one is kind of like automatically going to take 3 shots. How did I get to that? I just pressed the function set button right here to get to those functions. You press the function set button there. And then I'm going to go down here into drive mode. So this is basically continuous shooting, basically like burst mode in like the iPhone, where you just continuously hold down and it just keeps taking shots. Down here is going to be 16:9. This is your aspect ratio. So it's set to 16:9 out of the box. That's 12 megapixels. So to get the full, you know, 16 megapixels as it shows right there on the front of the camera, you're going to want to go over here, third option down, and you want to go down to 4:3. That's going to give you the 16 megapixel shots. But remember, when you go ahead and put it in post-production or on your computer, it's going to cut off the bars on the side. You're going to see some black bars either that way or this way. So be aware of that. 16:9 gives you basically that full screen, and that's where I like to leave it, but you might differ. Recording pixels, this is basically for if you're going to go ahead and print your shot. You can see you got 12 megapixels here. M1 is for 9,999 shots up to A3, 13:19 inches size here. And, you know, as you go down, it gets smaller. So just be aware of that if you're going to be printing. Going down here is just basically your movie quality in, you know, auto mode. It shoots in a maximum resolution of 1920 by 1080, but don't be fooled. You know, 4K would take so much space on this camera, and this actually shoots really good full HD. Actually, most of the videos shot on this channel are shot in this camera's full HD mode. So right here at 1280 by 720, and then VGA quality right there, which you probably do not want to use. So you can go ahead and pull up the flash, and flash does work in the auto mode, but I didn't find a way to turn on the flash, you know, whenever I want. It kind of just works when it needs it. So it didn't work there because there's plenty of light above us here. So in terms of this, if you press the display down, you can kind of get rid of that so you're not distracted by all the numbers up there. And then if you go to menu here, you do have ability to change a lot of settings. Now these settings are pretty much the same in every mode, so just kind of take this for every mode, these settings here. So you have digital zoom here, autofocus zoom, point zoom here, autofocus assist beam. You do have the ability to review the image after shooting, so it's going to take you right to the image. And then if you go over right here, so this is going to be like your D-pad to go over right and left. It's kind of a, you know, if you're hands-on kind of person, it was kind of common sense there. But mute here, on and off. You can go to hints and tips. You can put your date and time, your time zone, lens retraction. You have eco mode here, power saving. You can lift the LCD brightness if it's not bright enough, just by going to the right there. Menu will be your back button to go back. Startup image, that's where it'll show Canon. If you go ahead and turn this camera on, you could format the SD card, which basically clears all the memory, which you probably don't want to do if you got some stuff saved there. You can create folders, units, video system, Wi-Fi settings, mobile device connect button. So much stuff here, so you can go through all those things there in your settings menu. I'm not gonna go through every little thing and what everything means. That'll be all day here, but you got those settings there. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. So if you can just tap the button to go back into your shots. So yeah, there's not much you can do here within the, auto mode. You can't even go to manual focus. So it's basically go into auto mode, pull out and take a shot. Let's go into the next one, creative shot. So creative shot is basically, you're gonna take a shot here, half press, and basically creative shot does something like this. It takes a creative shot, so it takes multiple shots. This might be good if you're at a party or you're hanging out with friends and things like that, and you just wanna have something creative. That's gonna be pretty cool there for you. See, you do have multiple, group playbacks here. So pretty cool there stuff right there. Now going into the, SCN, this is basically, where you can get the best shot out of portraits. If you go to function set, you do have the ability to shoot in smart shutter. You go down, you do have high speed burst, low light photography here. You do have snow when it gets snowy. You got fireworks here. And then, yeah, you can go ahead and take those shots. Now in this mode, you cannot mess with ISO in this mode either. The flash, you can use flash in pretty much every mode, I believe. So yeah, except for like fireworks, because that's, fireworks. It's trying to get the fireworks out of there. So yeah, no manual function there, and no f-stop there. So yeah, basically just go in the mode you want in SCN. There's several modes we just showed right there, and go ahead and do that there. Now, the next one right here is going to be fisheye effect. So fisheye effect, we know what fisheye effect is. It's when it makes your, your subject look all crazy, fisheye, you can see right there. Now, if you go and use this control button we talked about earlier here, you can get like a bigger fisheye effect you could see right there. So that's going to give you a bigger fisheye effect on the camera lens right there. Now in fisheye mode, let's see if you can do anything with ISO. So in fisheye mode, you can actually raise the exposure here. So you can raise the exposure here in fisheye mode if you need to brighten up the scene here. So how did I do that? Basically, you just press this delete button, which is also doubles as an exposure button. So you can go ahead and raise the exposure there if the scene is too dark. Now the flash, does the flash work in this mode? Flash does work. You can see it changed right there. And yeah, that's pretty much all you can do here in fisheye. You can actually manual focus in fisheye mode here, but I'm going to tell you right now to go up, you got to go up and down on the manual focus. The manual focus is kind of jittery. I wouldn't mess with that. It's really, just let the camera do its own focusing. It does pretty well. If you're having troubles with focusing, just, pull the camera back a little bit, get a little closer, see where it hits the spots, but it'll eventually get it. Messing with the manual focus will probably just give you a headache. But over here is for macros, and we all know, if you don't know what macros are, they're basically them shots that are like really close to the camera. So you can see right there, if I take the picture in the macro mode, you can see it's going to take a pretty nice shot there for me in the macro mode. So that is the fisheye effect mode right there. Let's go into movie mode. So movie mode is basically automatic mode for those of you who want to shoot video, but you do not want to mess around with settings. You just want to shoot video. Just go ahead, go into movie mode, just tap the record button and get going. Now you do have some functions in this mode as well, such as the timer. It's some basic functions. If you're setting up on a tripod, you need to shoot a movie and you need to have a timer, it'll work there. Same with the recording pixels, and you can change the colors too. Like you can go in sepia, black and white, depending if you're making films or stuff like that, you can do that there. So remember, this function set button is basically we're going to get to your main functions and settings, and up and down. Remember, this is like a D-pad throughout each of these modes here. So let's go into manual mode here. So manual mode, this is really where you can get very, very in depth here. So right here is basically right out the gate. If you just start using the dial pad up here, you're going to be able to dial into, what is this? I believe this is your shutter speed here. Yeah, this is your shutter speed. So 1/60th. Basically, this is how long the lens stays open. So if you can think about it, one second, if it's on 1 here, I'm going to show you with my hands. If it's on 1 here, the lens is gonna stay open for 1, and then it's gonna close in 2. So yeah, basically, if you want to let more light into the camera, it's gonna slow down the scene. If something's moving fast, you want to have a longer time. So it goes all the way up to 4. So like, say you want to get those shots where like a bunch of traffic's moving, and you want to see that all that traffic blur effects, you're gonna want to put it on a higher shutter speed there. But a lower shutter speed is going to bring in more light. So if you want a really bright scene, it's going to bring in a little bit more light there. Now in this mode, you can also press the ISO button right here on the top. You can press the ISO button. And ISO, just think of ISO like this. It just brightens the scene. The lower is going to be darker. The higher is going to be brighter. That's all you really need to know there. Now if we press this exposure button, you're going to be able to get to your apertures in this mode. So this is basically your apertures. It goes up to 3.5 or 3.4 I think 3.4 is the lowest. Aperture is, you know, how big the lens opens. So just think of it like this. The higher the aperture, the more light you're letting in. The less the aperture, the more it's closed and you can't let more light in. So you can see how it's getting dark. So just remember that. You know, this mode is more complex. So if you're going to know how to, like, you know, combine these all together, you might want to do a little bit more research, but I'm just telling you what these buttons and functions do on this camera here. So if you want to learn more about aperture, this is not going to be the video for you. If you want to learn about shutter speed and how to get the best photos, you need to do a little bit more research on your own, but I'm just showing you what these camera functions do here. So yeah, that's manual mode. You do have the ability to do all of the timer stuff like we talked about earlier, white balancing. And white balancing is key. Like for me, I got fluorescent lights above me, so I'm in fluorescent mode right now. So if you're in, you know, tungsten is going to be like for when you have like a yellow scene and you want to get like more natural whites, you might want to use tungsten. Over here, cloudy day, obviously, daylight shooting outside, and auto white balance. Auto white balance doesn't do a great job in terms of, you know, if you need that specific shot, but it does do a great job if you don't really care about having the best quality image, but you just want a decent quality image. Compression, you can get super fine shots in manual mode, which is basically going to take more storage, but you can get super fine shots here. Full HD movie quality in manual mode. So yes, you can shoot in the manual mode movie. You could shoot manual movies in here. But yeah, that's pretty much the manual mode. You might want to check that one out if you really want to get, you know, the best shots you can get out of this camera, the M for manual mode. So let's go into the next mode here, AV. So that is the aperture priority. So this one basically is, like I talked about before, this is going to be messing around with your aperture in this mode. You got the same functions in this mode. Over here in TV, this is going to be like shutter speed with camera select aperture. So TV mode you might want to use when you're taking like more, you know, shots that are going to be like a, you know, a little program you're making and stuff like that. So program mode, in program mode you could select various functions. So I mean, like I said before, in this mode you could set a bunch of functions here. You can set your exposure. You can mess around with your ISO in this mode. So they got a couple of modes that, you know, you can mess around with features here. Live mode, basically this makes it look like a live movie or a live, you know, photo event or something. You could go ahead and press this menu right here for display. Let's go right here. Where's that menu button? Yeah, so we can go right here. Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you guys that we do have hybrid auto here. So basically this, you know, if we take a shot here on hybrid auto, so this hybrid auto mode basically allows you to shoot multiple images and clip them together later to kind of create a little movie effect here. So later on you could go ahead, you could see that was in hybrid mode, and you could see auto mode, and you could play this link digest movie. You could see multiple images, something like live photos on iPhone. It's pretty cool stuff right there. And then going into, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we went around everything on the top. So yeah, that's pretty much it on this camera. I hope this helped you guys out in, you know, using this Canon, you know, SX530 HS. Now I want to help you out just a little bit more and tell you how I use this camera. So basically you want to remember that when you want to get still shots, go ahead and curve your hand like this onto the camera, hold it like this, and put your hand this way on this grip. This is going to give you a nice shot. Now, if you guys know how to take photos, you already knew this, but for those of you who didn't, this is going to give you more shake. If you hold it like this, you can really get a still shot here to, you know, prove with your handshake. And then overall, what I do is I put it in manual and I just mess around with the ISO a little bit. You know, I raise the ISO until I find the bright scene. You don't really got to know those numbers. Just try to find the scene that looks the most balanced to you and just shoot your shot and you'll be good. You don't really have to know all of that mumbo jumbo, every little aperture. Just kind of, you know, get it to the bright levels you want. Make sure you don't have overexposure where it's like blown out, like you can't see a letter or something. I've done that a couple times, even in some of my current videos. But yeah, just go ahead and mess with that if you want to get a great shot. If you just want a great shot and you don't want to mess around with anything, just go ahead and go into auto mode and just shoot your shot and you will be good. In terms of the, you know, Wi-Fi function, I showed that in the review, but you know, you just press this button, you download the Canon Camera Connect application for your smartphone, link them up, and you'll be able to actually have manual controls like from your phone that's going to be able to actually zoom the camera out and shoot a picture right from your phone. So if you have your tripod, for example, or you have your camera up on a tripod and it's away from you, you can actually take the picture from your smartphone. So that'd be cool there. But yeah, that's pretty much the tutorial on the Canon PowerShot SX530 HS. I know it was a bit long, but I wanted to help you guys out in every single pretty much aspect you need to know about this camera. It's a pretty great camera, You can get very great shots with this thing, especially in good daylight. In terms of, I might be doing a night test on this. I haven't done a night test video on this, but overall, it's a great camera. Comes in right around 260 to 280 bucks. It's a great value. I'll leave the link to this camera where you can get it at down below in the description area. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and drop them down below. If you were like trying to decide between this and another camera, I could kind of help you out with that. If you're having a problem with a function, let me know. I can see if I can help you out with that. And if this helped you, please show your support by leaving this video a thumbs up. Share this with anybody who might be interested in buying this camera or has this camera and does not know how to use it. Make sure you have a great day wherever you are. I know I will. Be sure to be well, and peace. By the way, if you guys were wondering, this video was shot on an iPhone SE in 1080p at 30 frames per second. Later.
Hey, no, 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 hey, no, no.